Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. In this video, I am going to talk about what is a research, its types and how it is related in the field of disaster management. So let's start with what is a research. So research is basically finding or coming up with new knowledge and to find out the solutions using a sort of scientific methodology. So in a research, there are basically three types: the qualitative research, quantitative research, and the mixed methods. So the qualitative approach basically focuses on the meanings of lives of various individuals. You basically have to study the lived experiences of various people and you have to come up with the qualitative or the quality-wise research in your report. Then the second one is quantitative approach or the quantitative type. So it is basically related to your variables, like the variables we are using in mathematics or any kind of scientific new knowledge. The quantitative method is applied. Quantitative variables can be of various types. For example, there are independent, dependent, intervening, control and moderating variable. If you want to read more, they are freely available on the book that is Creswell. Creswell is a book that is sort of, it has a detailed explanation of qualitative and quantitative approach. Also the mixed method, so you can look up various new terminologies if you are interested in that quantitative or qualitative field. Now coming to the mixed methods. So mixed methods basically focuses on the balance between the qualitative and quantitative approaches and then coming up with a report, with a research report. So now I hope you have understood about research, qualitative and quantitative, as well as the mixed method. Now when it comes to the formulation of particular research report, now how would you do that? So in order to formulate your research, you have to come up with a research problem. After that, you have to read some literature regarding your research problem or the statement which you have derived. Then you have to come up with a theory. Then you have to come up with a hypothesis, and the thing which you have to remember is, in the hypothesis thing, qualitative research does not require as such hypothesis, but quantitative research requires. Then selection of your research design, coming up with new tools. Then data collection. Data collection might be done through the primary or the secondary data as well. If you go to the field and you will come up with your own data, then it is primary. And secondary data can be collected by having gone through various websites of government, such as the census data or various methods or the maps which are there in the government sites. You can use that for your secondary research. Now after you have collected the data, now the time is for interpretation or the analysis of the result. After that, the utilization of the result is far more important, because what if your research is well done and it is not implemented? It is not implemented for the people on whom you have done the research. It will go vague. So if I want to take my example from my discipline itself, that is geography, and specifically to that of social geography, then I can come up with a topic that how social geography is related to disaster justice and differential recovery in times of crisis and hope. I would look up to the various articles, journals on the Google Scholars or various other websites, and you can look up to your own area of interest, and I will look that the social geography aspects like that of human population, your education sector, your health, how they are impacting on them, how the vulnerable or the marginalized section of the society are being impacted from that. If I would like to take the example, then in the 2004 when the earthquake came, then specifically the Dalit communities were not given such aid, or they were not given humanitarian aid, and they were being separated from the main community. So if I would like to find out the gaps, I can find these gaps and put on my literature that these are the few things I have noticed and I want to continue my research with this. So this is about the forming a research report, or forming the research problem. Now I would like to talk about the various approaches in specific to the qualitative methods, because it is my area of interest. There are 5 approaches being used in the qualitative method. The first one is the narrative approach. So narrative approach basically focuses on the lived experiences of a single person. Okay, the shared experience he or she has being felt by reading the autobiographies, biographies, or any other thing that person has literally being felt in that situation. You can find the cumulative result and then come up with a particular thing. And if I want to relate it in the disaster management setting, then being an administrator, or if you want to suggest to a district administrator, then you can say that these are the few people which are being impacted, and then the policies and designs could be made in such a way that it would be future resilient. Okay, now coming up with the second method, that is phenomenological approach. So as narrative approach focuses on the life of single individuals, this phenomenological approach focuses on the lived experiences of more than 2-3 individuals, and cumulatively, if I would like to say, then 30-40 individuals. Then a researcher may come to a particular phenomena. He or she has to find a cumulative phenomena that are these 30 to 40 people in their lifetime of facing the same phenomena, and that phenomena could be related to psychological issues as well, such as stress, fear of missing out, depression, or the spread of disease. In particular, if I want to talk about the disaster management, and in the disaster situation, a district administrator can come up or look to these various kind of people and the stories, how they felt, and what are the aids they were given, and what if the aids are not being provided to them in a proper setting. A district magistrate can come up with the empathetic solutions. A proper decision making can be done onto them, so that the future hazard or the future problems can be avoided through this. Now the third one is the grounded theory. So it focuses on the social problems, or ascribing the social problems based on the raw data. So what a researcher do is, a researcher first will collect the data from various fields, and then he would come up with a particular theory. So in this case, while in a disaster management situation, a researcher might suggest to the administrator that he and she with the team can go to multiple villages and collect the raw data about a particular thing you are interested in, and come up with a particular solution or the theory, so that it might be helpful for community resilience as well. Now the case study approach, this is a sort of quite important approach, because in case study you have to look up with the detailed explanation of each topic, because you have to come up with a comprehensive understanding of a disastrous event. For example, the Kerala 2018 landslide has had happened. You have to look the past literatures, like what are the things that because of the various reports, like the various Wayanad reports that are being there, you have to look at them, and you have to talk to people as well in order to come up with a particular case structure. And in this situation, a district magistrate can commission a particular block, panchayat, or the community level, so that a problem can be well addressed. Now the last one is about the ethnography. So this focuses on the cultural and the traditional practices of the people or the communities who are being struck in a disaster situation. What are their dietary practices and the social things they are doing. And this also focuses on the mundane and the daily practices of individuals as well, so that a researcher come up with a new knowledge, or something that is new, something that is unique being done in his or her reporting. So these are all the approaches which are related to your qualitative ones. Now this seems to be very interesting, like various approaches, and yes, you will do in that research setting, you will make a good research report. But the prime importance is some limitations are also there, like while doing your research, is your research is trustworthy, or is it validated? How well your experience, how well your experiment is being helpful to various communities, how validate it is, and how and whether it is applicable in the situation of external validity, also internal validity also. You have to keep all these factors in mind. And also there is a concept of bracketing. So bracketing in the sense that while a researcher is doing a research, he should not come up with his own preconceived notions, his narrow-minded approach in doing or formalizing any result or any outcome. He should keep his or her biases away in order to come up with a new knowledge or the new solution to the approach. So these factors should be in the mind of particular researcher if he or she want to come up with a new knowledge or want to formulate a new group, that the validity and the trustworthiness in every aspect of individual, whether it is a research work or in a daily life of individual, the trustworthiness and validations comes to be a more important and sort of crucial step in taking the decisions in the life of people. So this is all about the research, the types of research, and it is very important in the disaster management perspective, because some people might think that disaster, it is just a short sort of subject and it is not of that important. But if you will look at different literatures, if you will feel the real value of people, like the people who are struck in the disaster, how are they feeling, and based on that, because research has not been that much so pro in this disaster management setting. So if a research is good and it is related to the lives of individuals and how the district magistrate is taking the decision in order to implement the things, because the things like, for example, keeping the policy inclusive, keeping the policy in terms of which favoring more the marginalized section or the disabled or women as such. Because I have read in one article that the heat wave which was done in which was more prominent in Telangana, women have to be real two-sided bearers. They have to do the work of their home also, and they have to go in the heat and want to take up the water for their family as well. So policies should be like such that they might be helpful for the vulnerable section of the society, women and disabled as well. So if your research is kind of this, that it is focusing on various sectors of the society and it is well accumulating to all the section of the society, then your research is very well, and especially in the disaster management context. So this is all about research and my qualitative approaches. And if you are more interested, you can look up the approaches used in quantitative method by reading the Creswell book, because that is more variable and sort of scientific oriented. So this is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening to me patiently.